we have been seduced, and over the past 2 centuries, let's say, by our ability to increase the quantity of material goods available into a, into a spiritual crisis. I mean, human beings have always been wealth oriented. I mean, the Bible is very much aware that the love of money is the root of all evil, and you cannot serve both God and mammon and so forth. But the possibility of releasing the energies of entrepreneurs in ways that increase the goods and services available to everybody has weakened Christian teaching on this subject. Greed used to be fully recognized as one of the great sins. When you base an economic system and say it works best if people behave greedily, and you acquiesce in that, there is an inherent spiritual crisis that is present. So that's a symbol of the loss of clarity about what healthy spirituality is. If you go back to the I don't mean to point back to any of these times as golden ages in which everything was wonderful, but if you think, who were the people that the majority of people in the world most admired and most wished they could emulate? There's no question that for some hundreds of years in Christendom it was saints. But there are very few people today who want to be like saints. They want to be like the rich and famous. Well, that's a spiritual crisis when our sense of the models we most respect and that our children grow up most admiring have shifted in that way. So there's no question that the rise of economics, I mean the dominance of economic considerations has been an enormous spiritual crisis for the whole of the West, and its consumerism has been a kind of religion that is almost the first universal religion. It has become very powerful in other parts of the world which have not been Christianized or not Westernized. Now, when you bring ecology in, the recognition of the ecological crisis was the first really big challenge to the despiritualization that had been taking place. And of course, it challenged us to think theologically in different ways, but it also challenged our basic models. I mean, to continue to seek wealth in a world that we now have to recognize has limited capacities is a kind of obvious violation that was not the case during the days when we thought if you sought wealth and invested it properly, you gave jobs to a lot of people and increased the amount of goods and services and so forth. So the ecological crisis has, I think, had some benefits in renewing our understanding of what Christian values really were all about. So it reflects the negative consequences of an earlier spiritual crisis. I don't mean it has yet succeeded in changing us, but it is interesting that among young people that are new, not the majority, but among a significant number, a different image of what they hope for in the future and what they would like to be like themselves. It has made Native American spirituality, which prior to the ecological crisis was almost always viewed with contempt, as now a attractive model. That's a change in the spirituality that I think we can celebrate. Again, I don't think that we can all just adopt Native American spirituality, but it is its connection to the natural world and to a gentle use of the world and to a sustainable lifestyle. These are the things that have made it attractive.